So we are gathered here today to celebrate, quite after the fact now, but the finish of a massive undertaking. So we both gathered our drinks. This is my choice, my consistent choice, really. It's so smooth. So I'm just gonna dip this into the coffee.
Into the coffee.
It's like being on the cruise ship again with the drinking. So it's been an interesting year, obviously. This is the last vestige of my cruise ship line of work, but things are much more interesting now in different ways.
Yeah.
So we met virtually probably 2 or 3 years ago.
Yeah, that sounds about right.
Yep. And so we're both on a creative forum. I think it was Catholic Creatives Australasia, made by a mutual friend, Shauna. And somehow we got to talking about all this geek stuff that we're into, toys. Yeah. And yep. And yeah, I checked out your art, and I was working on The Thought, which was it's kind of my first or second like self-produced song. And I was really mucking around learning as I went, so I thought it was done. And I was like, oh, I should do something with this, and I hit you up. And then you were busy, and then I was kind of like flip-flopping because the more it's like anything, the better you get at something, your mind advances more than your skills. So the more I was working on, I was like, this is crap. This is not good enough. And so I started losing hope in the idea that it was finished. And so fast forward probably a year or two later, and I'd done some more study and things. And I finished the song, and I'd finished the EP. I thought, oh, maybe I should do a music video, especially because it was all like homespun in the room stuff. And I was going for this sort of 90s vibe. This is Homeskill that I'm talking about, my recent EP. And I thought, well, it's kind of all 90s-ish sounding. I thought, well, I'm a child of the 90s, and so are you, a little bit older, but we both grew up with Pokemon, Batman Beyond, Batman the Animated Series. What else?
Right, we did.
And so I was just thinking, oh, it would be cool if every song had a music video. Cartoons are easy, right? Cartoons are cheap. And so I thought we could do like a different style for everyone. Like Simple Love could be like this dark Batman Beyond thing. Baby, I want a simple love. Maybe Baby, you should be with me is like a Hey Arnold. I don't know, something. You should be with me. He's harmless, but and anyway, so I hit up this animation company before we would start talking again. I was like, how much does a music video cost? And the guy was like, well, really, it's going to take 10 people. And the one that I talked about, the one that they'd done that I liked, they were like, that was something like $80,000. And you'd be better off finding a local dude.
Goodness, I did not. This is the first time I'm hearing about this, so I'm a bit shocked myself.
Are you feeling bad about the rates you quoted me now?
No, not really. I'm more shocked as in, again, we were both very, very unfamiliar territory for the both of us. It's just like a team of 10 people, and I sort of it was sort of just done me and you over the phone, rough sketches in our notebook, just a bit of back and forth with like some school sketches we'd find on Pinterest or Instagram or something.
So it was a learning curve. I mean, you're an animator and an illustrator. You graduated from, what was the media design school you were at?
AUT.
AUT, and you did design, is that right?
I did digital design, yeah.
Digital design, and I watched some of your stuff, and it was varied. There was like that really complex piece of fabric that was floating through that like parking garage.
That was a fun group project, yeah, with a group of mates.
So that was a group, was it?
Yeah.
But you did the whole thing, right? You did the animation of the cloth.
A lot of that stuff was like compositing, and then the 3D stuff was handled by another one of my mates, Jake, and he's just super good at it.
Okay. So it was really cool. And when I was watching the 90s Spawn movie, again, I think I messaged you. I was like, hey man, your cloth looked just as good as the cloth that they did in the Spawn movie at the time. Dude,
that movie is still a gem. That is a 90s gem.
So we were like geeking out about all this stuff. And so when we started off, like I was just so impressed because you had all these ways of initiating the process that I hadn't thought of. I think you did like a important words thing, and you're such a
Yeah.
words guy, which is so great because I don't think that would be the natural assumption for an artist or a visual artist especially. And our emails were just I've got them all here. Basically, I started up this thread. Basically, that's my friend John, different source material, and here we are. Oh, it's my shirt that I'm wearing right now. See, so I was inspired by that.
Oh, sick. He's got it. The mood board shirt.
Yeah, and because the song was like, it was inspired by like the lo-fi hip hop study beats kind of stuff, and that's very oriented around anime. And so here we are. We started to. I'm just quickly trying to remember if we sent each other anything inappropriate while I'm scanning down here. Here we are. Dude, that's really nothing to do. Sent me this awesome fan-made Frank Ocean video with a lot of anime. Some of it I didn't know, so I thought it was original. There was the Akira stuff in there. I think I was like, that's amazing.
Yeah, a lot of Studio Ghibli stuff that's just like chopped into medleys.
Yeah.
They had like their own way of like what do you call it, placing lyrics in. You know, it's not like the typical subtitle looking thing, which eventually we did end up going for, but yeah, that video was a massive source of gold as well.
Well, these words started to come up, like Misty. I kept saying Misty, and you're like, all right, so Misty. Misty is this female character we have. And then I was like, melancholy man this, melancholy man that. And I think you called him Melon from there on. So we were fixated on words, and then I did some serious Googling. And then you did this awesome thing, which I didn't know about before, a mood board. I never heard of a mood board before. And so you made this awesome collage of the different things I was sending. I love this one particularly. Look at just the line drawing on it. It's so clean. And so I'm not really a colors person, but it seems like everything I was kind of picking out was these colors, and you made this color palette, which is something you've seen in designer software, but I never really thought to use it. And you were like, these are the colors. And I'm like, okay, those are the colors. I just want to see that bit again. Look at it go.
Yeah, that one GIF was the driving inspiration of the entire project.
I might as well get onto the storyboard. I'm trying to make things easier for you and trying to get this thing moving along. I decided to do my first ever storyboard, and I did this kind of like crappily drawn little sketch on my software. And this was really a much longer version of the video, because we were both like, yeah, we can do everything. We can have flying cars and all this stuff, because we hadn't really buckled down to do it. And so I gave you this thing.
Right.
And then you did a much superior version over here. This is your storyboard with all these cool color coding bits for movement, right? That symbolizes movement.
Yeah, that's right.
And so here you fleshed out these ideas. And then what happened? Then I think we're like, all right, let's start doing the animatic. The animatic's like the basic moving storyboard. And so you just took the storyboard, then you started explain your process, would you?
Essentially, it was just taking the goal that we had in the storyboard and then sort of refining it into a form where it was like separate layers for certain things that would move in certain frames, and then certain camera shots and camera angles, the pans and the zooms where they needed to be. And then, yeah, a bunch of that just got insanely heavy. And then that was when we realized, like, oh, this is almost starting to feel like a team process type of thing.
So that process tells you how long it's going to take. That will tell you that?
Yeah, essentially, yeah. So in the pipeline, that sort of like is the biggest indicator of, okay, this is the most realistic indicator of what the project is going to look like, and the time span and the work ratio that's going to fit into the whole thing.
So this has been what, 2 months? 2 months, is it?
This was like, I would actually say 2 months. I think we did like a month of pre-production before everything, before the wheels sort of started turning, really.
We might as well just blast through a little bit of the wonderful work of art that you've created here. This was one of the first cells you sent, and this is the color palette in action right over here. Just I mean, the line and the neon and the purples and everything. I was like, oh man, this is gonna be something else. Um, the walk cycle was probably one of the strongest images I personally had when I was imagining it. I was like, lonely man walking in the rain. That's what this song is. And here he is. We even worked on, her name is Mad Girl.
Yeah.
We haven't
Poor
even
girl.
worked on making her more meh, and you were talked about desaturation and things.
Yeah, I do remember that initial image of her. It was like very glam. She was like covered in jewelry, and I'm sort of like, I was like, I'm not sure if this was the way that we were going. And then eventually we did end up just blending her into the wallpaper there, as you can see. The hue on her jeans is almost the same as the purples that were going on in the furniture and that table. Her hair is not too far off the background painting.
Yeah, this is the drab reality. So we're working on kind of expressing that, and then this part's so cool. Like this is actually this is the thumbnail I chose for the YouTube. And, and we're both like, I mean, you probably more than me, like Japanophiles at this point, both having been there in the last year. And you really went the extra mile. Like, are these are all actual words, right? What's going on here? What's
yeah, those are all little phrases and little what do you call it? Just like generic words. I mean, like that curtain over there, that's the generic kanji for sake. And yeah, and on that red neon sign and that pink one, it's izakaya, so it's the Japanese word for bar.
Okay.
Like bar and eatery place. Yeah. I remember we opted out to this because we weren't sure about sort of copyrights and brands, and because the original walk cycle, what do you call it? It had like a bunch of all these brands strewn out, just generic Japanese stuff. And then,
yeah, you had some.
I think it was that that's right. That's just beneath that red sign there was that Yakult logo, and then upon like our third view of it, we were just like, oh, we might get in trouble, right? Like, is this all right? Like, that was when we sort of realized that okay, we need to start. We need to put it in a more appropriate substitute, just in case.
But you made up some cool stuff here. Weren't all these funny words like sad man, skinny soul?
That's right.
What are some of these? What's this?
I wish I'd written them down, to be honest, but a few of them, they're like, the word lonely is like strewn out in a couple of frames and a bunch of frames. And they're all like really short Japanese idioms, and one of them is just like lonely soul or something like that. But it was like, yeah.
I just think that's really cool because I wouldn't have picked up. Oh, this is like another little uniquely Japanese thing. All the little coffees in the vending machine on the streets. I was having so many of those. Boss Coffee. They have Boss Coffee in New Zealand now. I'm very thankful for that. This was another thing about, I suppose, the benefit of a lengthy process, because we got stuck because I drew this storyboard that was like a continuous, like literal telling of the lyrics of the song. And so we chopped it down. We did a great like cull of different things, and it worked out better really in hindsight. But through the length of that process, when we hit that rut, I discovered this Sear Light thing that Penny sent me. And Sear Light is some artist on Instagram, and he or she does these single cell, how would you call them? They're animated, but only parts of them are animated.
Yeah, so they're like these single like keyframes, all colored up and prettied up and stuff. And there'd be like 3 to 4 key tiny little pieces that are just animated in this one frame. It'll just be like, I don't know, a candle flickering or a tree just swaying in the breeze in the distance, and like clouds sort of teetering back and forth, or increasing and decreasing their size, and it just breathes the whole thing into life without having to make any sort of extravagant Michael Bay lens flare or crazy studio effects stuff, or having the whole thing animated, and it's just really well considered.
And then here's a key moment right here. Here's where Mad Girl is revealed to not be the central idea. It's actually Misty. And again, with the length of time passing, and you kept saying, what else do you need, what else do you need? And I was like, well, if you really want to know, I want it to go to black. Is this possible? And you did it. Was this difficult?
Yeah, I have a confession actually. That little bit when you told me, you're like, yeah, this is why I want it to go. I completely was sort of just, I wasn't sure how to approach or what you really meant. And this was what was going on in my head. And I thought, I'll give it a shot. And luckily enough, I mean, it landed. But I don't think it was as difficult as I had anticipated. So it was almost like what I was saying earlier, when I was doing the animatic and it was boiling down what we had in the storyboard to be more malleable pieces of animated bits. So what I did was just I took that same approach and I separated the characters in here, the glow, just all the lights and the neons that were going on, and turned that into a separate layer.
Okay.
And I pretty much just nuked everything and then kept that up, and then it worked. It leads into the piano, and with the, again, how you were saying, with the amount of time that was passing through, it gives a lot more of a, you grasp more what he's sort of thinking as he's walking down these streets.
Yeah.
And then again, that piano solo, and then the jack, yeah.
And the jack. Yeah, we really worked on the timings quite a lot. I mean, that's a big part of the whole process, just the very mundane being like, I'd be like, oh, can you move it just like a half second so that it lines up with the snare hit or something like that? That must seem so anal to you, but when I'd be watching it, I'd be just like, this is, or there's like a distant little delay in the background. I want that to line up with this, and you must be like, guy doing?
Yeah. Yeah, for some of those, I mean, I guess for you, it's almost second nature because you handled the song as well. I mean, everything was from your head. So I was sort of just, I was like, snare hit, which one? I was like, is it this snare hit? Is it the one before?
The last bit it's really probably my favorite, and I think, I'm not sure if it's yours too, but this is just,
most definitely, man.
This is just beautiful. Especially when the train comes in, and I'm just looking at these glows, and it looks like it's metal, and his hair moving.
It's almost like a dream state.
So, I mean, this was very much the sear light thing, because I originally, we're like, all right, we're going to go back to the record player at the beginning, and that's going to snap, because that's what the sound is at the end of the track. It's I recorded Dad's record player, and the playhead clacks down. I thought that'd be cool to show that. But you did this, and with the painted clouds and the movement and the glow, and I thought, this is such a scene. You could probably have the whole music video just that. In fact, let's scratch the whole music video. Let's just do this scene. We're gonna loop this.
Yeah, let's just release the 5 second, scratch the entire thing. That's it. Keep it on loop.
Is there anything in particular here that you learned while you're doing it, or is this?
Yeah, I learned that color was extremely difficult. It was not something to be underestimated with. But that definitely took up a chunk of the process, a lot more than I had expected to. But I'd say it was good. I mean, a lot of the stuff that I do on Instagram, I'm sure it's no color at all. So like I'm more into controlling tones and like grayscale and stuff like that. So this was like a breath of fresh air whenever I logged onto this project, and I was like doing my hours in here. But yeah, I have a huge appreciation now for teams that solely just focus on rendering and the weight of color just in everything now.
Yeah, so that's Kenzie Allen, everybody. You can hit him up online. Find his work at, what's your Instagram handle?
rvre.exe.
Well, man, it's been an honor and a pleasure. Looking forward to this thing going out there. And
yeah, likewise, man. Thanks for having me on board. Honestly, thank you.
This is going to be premiered soon. Or maybe I should pretend like we've already premiered it and we have 100,000 views. I don't know. I'll decide that later and edit it accordingly.
Yeah. We'll cut this part out. Hell yeah, that wrap is looking super nice.
Yeah, he's already breaking. His crotch has come apart.
Oh, are you serious? I got it. Oh no.